Tibetan number 2. We're going to look at a couple of ways to do this. They're both based around the breath, but we also need to look at what the movements are. So let's begin by looking at what the movements are, and then we can add the breath to that. So one side of the movement, and this is accessible by most people, is that we're seeing, can we lie on the floor and reach those arms nice and long. Here I might be allowing the lower back to lift up if my arms don't reach down to the floor. If my arms don't reach the floor, that's fine. And that's one side of the movement. The other side of the movement has more variation, so it might be that I'm curling up the body and trying to draw the legs in, trying to lift head and shoulders off the floor, seeing if I could curl into a little tuck. And I like to make sure with that the hands are sort of behind the knees, that we're going to try to eventually open the back of the knees while we're putting the legs in. So this is okay, but this is a little better. And so that would be one of the gentler ways of doing it. If that's too strong, you could find from this side, you might bring in one leg at a time and just work one side. And then you could be working the other side. And if you've got the capacity to work stronger, then it might be that as we bring those legs in and lift the head and shoulders off the floor, that we try to extend those legs as much as we can. And so that becomes then our movement. And again, a way to work even stronger would be to let those legs stay or extend a little bit more throughout the movement. So then we're working with this bigger, longer lever. Now, if that doesn't test me to my fullest, it might be that I want to explore also this rolling up through the spine, so that we work into this plough, and then we'd find our way back to this extension. So working one way and the other. If that movement feels safe but not manageable to do slowly, then you might find that you get to here and you swing the legs. And so that you explore going into that movement. And it might feel like my bum is too big to be able to get it off the floor, so swing the legs, maybe I need to grab my back in order to be able to balance that. Ultimately, we might leave even the hands over the head, so that when we curl the spine, it's just those legs reaching. And that we are looking to slow down the movement, so that movement could become part of the breath cycle as well. So those are progressions for the movement. And we want to find a balance that's manageable and challenging at the same time. So we have some degree of success with it, but we do challenge ourselves. Now, depending on the nature of where you are, sometimes it might be that you actually want to take it much easier, and just turning up and doing the practice, that is challenging ourselves on certain days. Even for myself, sometimes I just turn up, do a little bit of practice, and that's enough, because I've marked it, I've touched it, and that's the challenge. And sometimes the days I feel like practicing the least, actually I get the best practice, because there's the most potential for progress you can make within that. Let's talk a little bit about the breath. So we have our breathing recording, and if we're working it to the breathing recording, then how I would work this Tibetan is I would find this slower way, changing on the inhale, and then breathing out, and staying, and then changing on the inhale. breathing out and staying there on the exhale. So there's a sense of moving with the breath. And there's a sense of letting go to go deeper. Moving with the inhale. Staying there to go deeper. This is a great way to work if the breath is challenging. If the breath is really challenging, then I take that extra time so I can really make the movement and the breath sink. If that's comfortable and I feel like I want to work a bit harder, move a bit faster, and moving faster is a good trap for the mind. It's good to get the mind really into the movement. Then I would make the practice a little bit faster. I would inhale on one side and exhale the other side. So wherever my movement gets to. So my movement's quite a full movement. I'll explore all of that with the recording. So the breath in. And the breath out. And maybe I'm making it a smaller movement. Now it's absolutely fine to breathe the other way round. So if I wanted to, I could make this the breath in. And this the breath out. And this, working through the full practice, through the full 4 minutes, is definitely a really hard full body workout. And you will feel your core working and all that stuff. One thing that might happen, some people find it's too much in the head, in the neck. So if eventually you want to be curling up the spine, lifting the head and shoulders, rounding the spine, so we lift the head and shoulders before the legs, and that will allow the spine to roll. It's not that my head doesn't come back to the floor, it's just that it is curled and my whole core is rounding the spine. But if that hurts my neck, then I might decide to leave that out and see where I can get to without the neck so that I can keep it manageable. I always tell people, do the things that you can do and don't worry about the things that you can't. So if it's straining the neck, get the rest of the body working. As that gets stronger, that will also strengthen everything up through the spine. One day we can include the neck as well. This is a basic introduction to Tibetan number 2. There's lots of options there. See if you can find the level that works right for you and have a go. And give me some feedback as to how it goes. I would love to hear. And good luck. See you next time for Tibetan number 3.